Diaz, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it. You already know. Like a torta with a snack habit. Bye. Bye. Let's straight get to this intro. Welcome back to the channel, and if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking, and I highly appreciate all the support. I'm very humbled by it. So another day, another shooting in San Jose, right? Kind of rhymes. Look, San Jose, California is off the hook. Ever since the Super Bowl and even prior to the Super Bowl, there's been mass shootings continuously. When I say mass, I mean a massive amount of shootings, right? Whether it's the gang-related shooting that happened at that pizza parlor where the two older norteños were caught up and arrested for shooting a younger upstate sureño, or it was the massive shooting that happened outside of a club on Super Bowl Sunday, as well as the shooting that occurred where two individuals were struck and killed. Look, it's going crazy in San Jose. And this Sunday, another shooting happened, and the victim was a local rapper known as TRAUMAFRESH408, okay? An alleged Crip gang member that was at a club called The Loft when he was accosted by an individual or individuals and allegedly shot, okay? Now, he is going to recover from this shooting. Even though it was a traumatic experience and it was point blank, he will be recovering. Now, the word on the curb is that he was at a club, that club, The Loft, and this individual who was arrested at the scene for shooting him was allowed into the club with a weapon on him. Now, whether or not the security knew he had a weapon on him, or they just do pat downs and there's no metal detectors, that's in question. The owner of the club was flabbergasted, and I'm sure he was at his place of business, had a shooting that occurred within the confines of the building. You know, usually when you go to a club, you're of the understanding that the weaponry, people that have weapons are pretty much locked in their cars, or maybe a person outside of the club is holding them. But there's been plenty of situations where people were able to take weapons into the club to get off where they were mad at. Now, this guy TRAUMAFRESH408 is not just a local rapper. He's a very controversial local rapper. And the reason being is that he did make some statements and he did make some I guess clips on Instagram where he was disrespecting certain groups, certain gangs from San Jose. So it seemed like it was only a matter of time before he got caught up in a situation when you're boisterous, when you're loud, you're outspoken, and when you're disrespecting another group, especially in the city of San Jose or anywhere in California, your time is limited. It's only a matter of time before someone recognizes your filth and they see you, and next thing you know, you're hanging out of a helicopter like Omar Suarez, right? I never liked him. I never trusted him, right? For all I know, he had my homeboy Manny Fernandez set up and killed. But that's history. Well, the history is that on Sunday, he got shot right in the club. Now, the guy that was arrested is, of course, a Samoan, Uso origins, man. But there's a big backstory to this TRAUMAFRESH. Now, I'm not saying that this guy that shot him because of this reason. But let's say that TRAUMAFRESH408 in the city of San Jose is not innocent. Okay, no one really is. When it's gang related, and I'm not saying that this shooting is gang related, but when you're gang related, when you're a gang member, you know, you have to live with the understanding that every time you go outside them on them streets or at a club or on the block, man, it's a 50-50 chance that you'll make it back home safe. It's a 50-50 chance that you'll make it back, period. Okay. And you know, TRAUMAFRESH, luckily, this wound wasn't fatal, so he'll be able to double back and come back. But it's definitely a situation that will make him think. Okay, the city of San Jose is on fire right now. Like I said, shootings is like drinking water and everybody needs a sip. It seems to me that San Jose is not playing at this point in time. It seems that the shootings have just ramped up heavily. And what does that mean? That means law enforcement's going to ramp up heavily. That means the conviction rate's going to go up in Santa Clara County. That means the Santa Clara County Jail, San Jose County Jail is going to be filled to capacity pretty soon, because a lot of these shootings that are happening are happening in quick succession. They're just back to back to back. Now, this one in particular, I can't tell you exactly what it stems from. It could be easily as someone bumped into someone got recognized, or, you know, it was gang related. Either way, man, there's a man down shot, a local rapper, and another man, a Uso, arrested. But there is some history between this rapper TRAUMAFRESH408 and some Usos. Now, I'm not saying this particular Uso is from any gang or is affiliated or associated with the gang that I'm about to talk about. But at the end of the day, right, it's kind of like you got to read between the lines and say and see when someone disrespects a certain group, a certain ethnicity, does he have it coming? Well, in the gang lifestyle, the criminal lifestyle, yes, absolutely. If you talk that shit, you better be about that shit. You can't just talk a good game without playing it, right? So a while back, TRAUMAFRESH408, the victim in this shooting, went online and disrespected the SOS, the Sons of Samoa. Okay, it's a very well-known group or gang in the San Jose area. They also have, you know, different hoods in different cities. And I think everyone at this point in time in life pretty much knows who the SOS are. If you don't, they're a Crip gang comprised of mostly Samoans and a few blacks and other ethnicities that are embraced within that fold, right? I've had willings and dealings with the SOS throughout my life. I've been incarcerated with members from the SOS that ran with the other car. I actually was able to go to San Jose a few years back to an SOS party, right? Shout out to them guys, man, because it was nothing but love and respect. We took pictures, man. We shook hands. One person in particular almost ripped my arm off when they shook my hand, and it was a female. Like, I'm just going to be real. And I was invited by a very well-known and respected member of SOS, whose name I'm not going to put out there because I got nothing but love and respect for him, even though, you know, our relationship or friendship didn't end on the perfect note, man. I'm always going to have love for him, and he knows exactly who he is, right? In fact, my intro that you just watched would not be made without him. But he had a daughter, a very well-respected daughter, who had just beat a double murder case in the city of San Jose, and they were throwing her a get-home party, you know, getting out of jail party, and to which I was welcomed and invited, and I did pull up to the city of San Jose on the west side to a park and partied with the SOS. And let me tell you right now, man, some of the most nicest, respectful, and inviting people that I've ever been around. The food was bomb. The atmosphere was bomb. And I was well protected and well respected right there in the city of San Jose with the SOS. I was told by the SOS, to which I believed them, and it was facts, that, you know, when I got there, that I didn't have to worry about no fucking drama. They got me. And me knowing SOS members in the past and knowing how they get down and their word is their bond, I was going to see all right, cuz. And guess what? Everything was perfect. Everything worked out that day. And I was around an active Norteño that day, man, and he showed respect and love for the SOS. So for that, I will forever be indebted to them. They are good, righteous people on my book. Now, I understand they were a gang, an alleged gang in San Jose. And, you know, people think that gangs terrorize the cities 24 hours a day. That's not what happens, man. But I'm not going to stick up for any gang and say that's the perfect lifestyle to live, because I'm not here to, you know, shed light on gangs or, you know, show you guys that they're good, because they're not. You know, ultimately you end up in jail or you get killed or other bad things happen to you and the people around you. Now, this guy TRAUMAFRESH408 took to the internet and disrespected the SOS and several other Samoan gangs when he decided to say that they were not real Crips, that only blacks were Crips in the city of San Jose, and that they were not, they were different, okay? They were not real Crips because they were not brothers. Now, I never knew Crip meant black, right? I never knew Crip meant brown. You know, I know what Crip means, and having done time with a lot of Crips, I've met Crips of every ethnicity, okay? Asian Crips, Samoan Crips, black Crips. I've met Bloods, Parus, Samoans, Tongans, all that. Tongan Crips. I've done time with Mexican Crips. You know, a little bit of everything. Yes, of course, the brothers are the majority when it comes to Cripping. That's very well known and documented. But that doesn't mean that you can't be a different ethnicity and embraced by that cause. You know, it all depends on geography, where you grow up, who you grew up around, what your gang affiliates and associates with, and empowers, right? And that's just what it is. SOS has always been known that their Cripping is real. right? They've been putting on and doing their thing for decades, decades. So for this guy to take to the internet and disrespect this particular group for whatever reason, that was pretty much a nail in his coffin. I've told you guys a long time ago, when it comes to the Usos, Sole, what's up, Soles? When it comes to the Samoans, nicest people on earth, most dangerous people on earth. Okay, if you are embraced and loved by them, you're a loved one, man, and you got everything coming. They'll give you the shirt off their back, but they'll kill you for trying to take the shirt off their back. Do you understand where I'm coming from? There's nobody you're going to meet that are going to say Samoans, Polynesians, Micronesians, any of the islander people are bad people. They are rough people. They grew up, in poverty, just like the black and brown communities and some of the white communities, brother, right? So they come from different origins, different bloodlines, the warrior bloodline. They're not fucking around, and they're bigger people, muscular people. And they're just not big for nothing. They're big for a whole lot of something, right? So for anybody to take to the internet and disrespect the SOS and think that they're going to get away with it, especially in a most dangerous city like San Jose, where the SOS are very well known and respected, it blows my mind. Now, I'm not saying this shooting, right, isn't aligned with what he said, but it seems kind of tricky that a Samoan was the one that was arrested for the shooting. And there's a lot of people saying he was the one who did it. And I'm going to say alleged, because everyone that gets arrested for anything, it's alleged until they are convicted in courts. And even then, who are we to speak on it, right? To say that he did that in particular. Could have been someone that looked like him. Could have been someone wearing the same outfit, same braided hairstyle, talked the same, looked the same, acted the same, but ain't me. It would feel so empty without me, right? There's a gang of motherfuckers that look like Eminem. Just look at Blanco 15, but it ain't him, right? So you just never know. But according to what a lot of witnesses are saying, there was an altercation within this club between TRAUMAFRESH408 and that he began an argument or was involved in an argument to which words were being exchanged, disrespectful terms. It got louder, and he swung on this particular guy, this alleged shooter, right? To which a gun was pulled out, and Too Fresh was not Too Fresh anymore, right? He got stale quick. He got stalemated. And it's an unfortunate situation where people that are in the club that are just there to enjoy themselves had to witness this. You don't go to a club, you think, okay, I might see a fight, you might see a drink thrown, you're definitely going to see some tortas pulling each other's hair, and you might catch a nip slip or two, right? But you're never expecting someone to get shot within the club. Now, let me explain two situations to you. When I got to prison, one of the first times when I was still young and in prison, I got settled with an OG, an older guy. And I could tell right when I walked in, it was either going to be tricky as fuck in this cell, or we were going to be best friends. Did we just become best friends? Yup. And we did become cool. Not best friends, though, because he didn't have it in him to be a best friend, right? He had it in him to be respectful, though. And so as I see this OG man reading his newspaper, I kind of go in, make my bed, throw my paperwork at the end of his bed. Didn't throw it, set it down so he could read what I was in there for. He kind of took a glance at it and was like, you can pick that up, youngster. They wouldn't put you in this cell with me if you were all bad. Like, that's how OG this dude was. He had been down for like 40, 45 years, almost 50 years. And he was going to board soon, to which he was shot down. I've told that story. But anyways, quietly as it's kept, when we became cool enough to converse, when he became cool enough to open up about his case, right? Because I explained to him about mine and what I was in for and how young I was, and I was just trying to do my time, and that I was gang related and all these different types of things. He explained to me that he had actually went into a club in San Jose, studio, I think it is 55 or 54, I'm not too sure. Back in the days, he had caught his girlfriend with another man. He had knew that she was there. Someone called him like, hey, your chick's right here with this dude. He pulled up in that club. Now, you got to remember, this was back in the 70s. Back then, they didn't do the metal detectors. They didn't do the pat down. You just came in, smoked weed, did yayo in the bathroom, and boned everything moving, right? And so he went in there, pulled out a 45 caliber gun, and shot both of them right in the middle of the dance floor, right? He ended up getting 55 years to life, and he was my cellie, and they shot him down about 3 or 4 times at board. It's crazy, right? So that was a situation where someone was able to take a weapon into a club. Another time was myself. There was a club, and they did not, they would look through your purse or your fucking wallet or whatever you had on you if you're a female or male, and kind of check your backpack if you had one, which you'd be a stupid ass going to a club with a backpack. You know what I'm saying? That's obvious. and kind of give you a quick pat down and let you in the club. Now, many a times, myself and my homeboys that were with me, we had designated people to carry the things, right? We knew where to put them where they wouldn't pat down. They just give a quick outside pat down. You had the shit tucked in the inside, right? Have it right here by the ball. They ain't going to fucking touch you there. And we knew the security and we knew how they got down. So we were able to take weaponry into the club, not because they knew and they let us, but because we knew we had broke down the system. Just like it's the criminal lifestyle, the gang lifestyle, man. We figure out a way in, we're getting in. And there was plenty of times, man, that we went in with the weapons. Thank God we never had to utilize them. You know, there was one time where the homeboy pulled out some pistol whip, someone real quick, tucked it, like, fuck it, sent it with this chick, and she got up out of there, right? But 9 times out of 10, we did have fucking things in the club. And people were aware of this. People kind of understood, like, okay, these guys are gang members. They're not without something, whether it be a knife or a gun or any type of weaponry, right? I remember one time the homeboy took a battery pack. I was like, if you don't stop it, motherfucker, you took the time to put batteries in there, tie it in a knot, tie it by your balls and do all that. And you could have just brought one of these. Look at, see, motherfucker, it's nice, right? So that was the shit back in the days. So it's not remarkable that a fucking gun was in that club in San Jose, but they did interview the owner of that club, the Loft. He owns a couple other businesses, and he did express that he was pretty much very anguished due to the fact that this happened within his club. And, you know, people could hold you accountable. You know, as a business owner, it sucks, man. You can't watch everything. You hire security to do their job. And, you know, there's so many people going in and outside of a club. It's hard for these bouncers or the security to maintain, you know, the integrity of their job and do everything perfect every time. You know, I did read in the article he's going to release or get rid of a couple of the security that were there that night. I think that's bullshit. I think that's bullshit because you can't blame these men for what another man done. Now, I understand basically saying that if they would have did their job right and correctly, that this would have never happened, that they could have done their job right, and this could have still happened. There's ways to do things there's ways to do things, you know. You can't watch everything, but I mean, it's his place of business, his employees, so he's liable for whatever, and he can do whatever he wants. Anyways, San Jose's crazy. San Jose's off the hook, right? And let me explain something to you. Once the Usos start becoming involved in shit, man, let me tell you something. The police department is going to pull up thick, because I remember the last incident that happened with an Uso that I seen in the city of San Jose, and they came about the whole police force for like 3 or 4 individuals, because they know 1 or 2 cops cannot even put the cuffs on an Uso if he don't want you to. They are a different breed of people. Okay, the cuffs don't fit around their wrists. You know, I done time with Usos. You had to put 3, 4 pairs of cuffs on them, and still their elbows hurt. You know, it's just a situation. There's an Uso can't do this. No, if there's an Uso that's a Norteño, he could throw the X up, but he definitely can't do the I or the V. I promise you that. I promise you that. Arms way too big for all that shit, right? But an Uso was arrested and is charged with an attempted murder case in this shooting. Now, was this due to that guy's disrespect? Should he have just kept his fucking mouth shut and not disrespected the SOS? Or is this something totally different and I'm way off base? I'm just giving you guys a background story on what could be. You know, when you disrespect gang members, you better watch out. It's only a matter of time. Karma will catch up to you and people will catch up to you. We live in a very small world. And San Jose right now is becoming a smaller world. And everyone's on point out there. You know, it becomes a point where you have to carry your thing on you. Look, I'm going to explain to you. I have a friend of mine who actually works at a club in a city. I'm not going to say which club. And he told me, he said, man, there was a dude. He came in with one of those little purses that Wes Watson wears. You know those purses. And he goes, you know, they got pockets inside of pockets inside of pockets, right? He says it was a young Asian cat, probably about 20, 24, 25, whatever. And he seen a thing in there, right? Dude had a little thing, a little pistol. So he told him, oh, bro, you know what I'm saying? I can't let you in with this shit. And old boy was like, he was like, bro, why you got this? You know, you're going to the club. And old boy was like, man, I can't be caught without that shit out here, bro. I got too many enemies. I just can't do it. He was like, look, bro, you take it, put it in your car, I'll let you in the club. You party with your peoples. It's good, right? Oh, boy. He goes, oh, boy, so you're not going to let me in? He said, not with the thing. I can't, bro. It's my job and shit. He said, you can go in, bro, but you got to put it in your car. He said, nah, I'm cool, bro. I'd rather not have it on me. All right. See you later. That's how dangerous it is out there in the cities, man. And that was in the Bay. That's how dangerous it is nowadays, where people would rather have it on them than not. They say, fuck that club, man. You know what I'm saying? It's dangerous out here. The city of San Jose is becoming that. And once it becomes that, it becomes more law enforcement. And once it becomes that, it becomes more arrests and more families and more drama. And the domino effect just keeps on going. Anyways, with that being said, man, I'm going to play that clip one more time for you guys so you can see it. This is the actual footage of the man being taken on the gurney and placed in the ambulance, and also the alleged suspect that was arrested. Shout out respects, man, to the USO community, man. It sucks that one of your peoples got caught up on this, but this is that life out there in the city of San Jose. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in, man, and that's the benefit of all people, right? This video is sponsored by Barrio Liquors out there in Turlock, California. If you're ever in the area, man, go turn up, pull up, and go to the Barrio and get you something cold to drink. Especially if you're in that 209 area, man, you should already know about the Barrio. Go pull up on Lali. Also by Sticks and Stones Yard Service out there in Arizona, man. If you're ever in the area and that you need your yard hooked up, man, make sure that you call Sticks and Stone Yard Service, and he got you covered like a state blanket. What do I say? Itchy, better warm.